I first saw her in the mid-1970s in a coffee table book. She's at a Beatles show in Philadelphia, August 1966. The world of stories this girl spun for me. I'd love to know who and where she is now, but part of me is skeptical of that impulse, happy to let her live in my imagination. There she's less a teenage girl in perpetuity, that kind of embalming doesn't interest me, than a human possessed beyond language, an endless source of inquiry. Human faces, said Henri Cartier-Bresson, are such a world. An image seduces us into believing that a moment is eternal, that we can dwell in a fraction of time and believe that instant has currency and value in the future. Photos are, of course, liars. Vittorio Conta, a painter, said, quote, "Cameras that capture the moment are giving us the impression to own it," quote. After the 40-minute show, she dried her eyes and underarms, went home with her ears ringing, singing, wrote in her diary, exclaimed to her girlfriends on the phone or in school the next day, "The Beatles grew mustaches." But here she's stilled. Her expression, its blend of joy and anguish, bliss and burden, frightened me. Whatever knowledge and language I might attain would take years to catch up with the sensation. I saw the photo before I understood that overwhelming pleasure and surprising release can terrify. This Beatles girl will always live in my imagination as a source of unease, dissolving my irrational attempts to make sense of her. She's having fun, right? She's not unhappy, right? The grainy black and white secures her in a past beyond my reach, so I can't ask her, "Why do you look this way?" I wonder, what does she remember of that concert? This girl remains unknowable to me, and for that I can't relinquish her. As I sat in my basement with The Beatles, an illustrated record, written and compiled by UK journalists Roy Carr and Tony Tyler, she was living out for me a story that she has no say in, complicating my naive understanding of girlish expressions around me at St. Andrew the Apostle's School. Like a transparency, I held the after-image of Beatles Girl up to those faces and wondered if they'd match. I did see something similar in the girls on the blacktop. Torment when they were upset, their faces red and streaming tears, but never when they were joyous, their hair lifting on the swing set, laughter in the air. Beatles Girl obscured things. In her face, delight and anguish meet and collapse. The only language I have to describe it is approximate. Words like bittersweet, or that her face shows a depth of experience. A potent blend of suffering and ecstasy, nearly saintly, beatific. Something I couldn't name then, but I can now. Surrender.